All right, we are back. Today is Friday, October the 11th, and we have a huge weekend of college football. Of course, we've got some great ranked matchups. We have Penn State USC, we have Ole Miss LSU, we've got the Red River Shootout between Texas and Oklahoma, and we have Ohio State and Oregon. It does not get bigger than that with two Big Ten teams vying for supremacy, possible shot at number one, depending on what happens in Texas. And we are going to break the game down with a pair of correspondents who cover the teams. We're going to have Zach Neel, managing editor of Ducks Wire of the USA Today Network, and Joey Kaufman of the Columbus Dispatch, who covers Ohio State. Uh, yeah. So, guys, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Excited for this matchup.
All right, Joey, I'm going to start with you. As far as Ohio State is concerned, they are number one in the country as far as the offensive line in least pressure allowed, as far as pressure rate. But I think some of that could be a byproduct of the schedule that they have faced. Do you think they're going to need to do anything different? Maybe have some help with the blocking because Oregon's defensive front has been able to bring pressure and is probably the most talented group they're going to face.
Oregon certainly has I think, the best defensive line Ohio State has faced this year. It starts with Jordan Burch. I do think Ohio State has faced some quality defensive ends. Mike Green from Marshall was a pretty good one, although the memory Ohio State fans might have with Mike Green was him spinning around Josh Fryer and getting in the backfield for a sack. So they're going to face more of them with Oregon. I think part of it is actually going to fall on Chip Kelly. I think this offensive line still probably has some limitations, and you're going to have to scheme around some stuff. And Chip's done that this year with some of the short passing game stuff, the screen game, the RPOs, and I think it's going to be important for them to get the ball out of Will Howard's hands and quickly.
Do you think they're going to need to do anything a little bit different than they've been doing as far as also getting the running game going? Because I know Chip wants to lean on that.
They have. I think it's going to be an important part of who they are and their identity this year, just being able to run the ball to take some of the pressure off Will Howard. Because if it's a situation where they can't run the ball and you're having to rely on Will Howard and it's third and long, that's not an inviting situation that he's had to be in a lot this year. So I'll be interested to see if Ohio State can continue to run the ball as well as they have so far this year.
Right. Zachary, as far as Oregon is concerned, they have had some problems. They've been getting better at it recently, but they have not always been able to cash in the red zone. Ohio State is number one in the country in the red zone, and their red zone defense is very good. Do you think that Oregon, if they want to win, do they need to punch it in when they get into the red zone, not just settle for field goals?
Yeah, I think that's got to be the biggest key to the game for the Ducks this week against Ohio State, because against teams like Michigan State or Idaho or Oregon State, you can get away with, some field goals and not capitalizing on every opportunity, but that's not going to work against Ohio State. So the last two games, we saw some interceptions in the end zone and the red zone from Dylan Gabriel, and that can't happen again if you want to win this week.
Do you think they're going to need to scheme anything a little bit differently since Ohio State has kind of difference makers at every level, or are they going to need to get a little more creative with the play calling in the red zone?
I don't know that it's scheme that needs to change at all. I think it's just you need to play more mistake-free football. I mean, Dylan Gabriel is a veteran quarterback who should not be making these mistakes in the red zone. And he's even said that, his eyes have gotten a little bit bigger than his stomach sometimes in the red zone this year, and he's just kind of taking chances that he shouldn't have. So I know they're coaching him hard on that. He knows that he needs to be better. I think it should, he might not take those big chances and they might play it a little bit safer. But like you said at the start, they really need to be able to punch the ball in this time because you're going to need those points so you can get them against Ohio State.
Right. Joey, how much of an impact do you think Caleb Downs is going to need to have in this game? I know that Oregon has a great receiving core. They love their tight end. They have a couple of running backs. He has really kind of slowly started to get untracked, and Jim Knowles is starting to unleash him a little bit. Do you think that he is going to be a real X factor on defense for Ohio State?
I think he's a good player to watch. You bring up Caleb Downs, I think at the right time in the season, because they have started to use him a lot more. It's seemed largely in the last few weeks that they've used Caleb Downs to help shore up some stuff against the run and even some blitz packages. There was a third and long that Iowa had last year where it looked like Caleb Downs was dropped in coverage and he's got enough range where they're able to send him into the backfield and gets pressure on Cade McNamara and helps to force an incompletion. But we really haven't seen him as involved maybe in the pass game, largely as a product of who Ohio State has faced. They have not really gone up against a team that's going to rip it and throw the ball a lot. Obviously, Iowa's not really built to play that way. So I think that's going to be in when they played Marshall, which was an air raid team, they were getting the ball out quicker in the pass game. So Oregon will probably stretch the field a little more, and I think that makes Caleb Downs a little more intriguing to watch, just how he could help out there.
Right. Zachary, I know that the Coach Lanning has only been on the job a couple of years, but obviously he looks like he is kind of a star on the rise. Where does this game fit as far as maybe magnitude? I know that they had the Washington games last year that everyone was just kind of heartbroken about. Those were at the time the biggest games, but is this maybe the biggest game of the Lanning era so far?
Well, Lanning will tell you it's the biggest game because it's the next game. But yes, if you're going to avoid the coach speak a little bit and get real about things, yes, this probably is one of the biggest games of his career. No, there's not championship aspiration or implications on this game. They're not playing for a Big Ten championship yet, but if they want to get there and they want to get to the level that they believe this team can get, they should be able to win a type of game like this, or at least prove that they're capable of winning a type of game like this. So yes, it's the biggest game maybe ever inside Autzen Stadium, the first top 5 matchup ever to be played here in Eugene. So fans are really excited for this one. They can't wait to see what happens on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think you can say the same for OSU fans as well. It certainly seems like it is just the talk of Twitter. I guess final question for both of you, Joey. I'll go to you first. What for Ohio State? What has to happen for the Buckeyes to win? What is the one thing they either have to do or cannot let happen if they want to win the game?
I think they need to protect Will Howard and I think stay on schedule on offense where this is not turning into a shootout. I think a big part of Ohio State's offensive resurgence this year is because they've become a run-oriented team and they're able to make things easier on the quarterback and finish drives. And if that trend continues, I think they'll be able to prevail against Oregon.
Zachary, same for you. What either has to happen for Oregon or what can they not let happen if they want to win the game?
I think they need to find ways to get yardage in chunks and get some of those explosive plays. We know Ohio State is one of the best teams in the nation at stopping explosive plays on defense. So, and that's how Oregon likes to operate offensively, is get some of these explosive plays downfield. What cannot happen is mistakes in the red zone, particularly, and just turnovers in general. You can't afford to give Ohio State extra possessions in this game if you want to win.
Yeah, certainly. I think you hit on something. Whoever makes the fewest mistakes is probably going to come out ahead. That's usually the case in football, but when you've got two teams that are pretty evenly matched, that seems to hold sway. Well, thanks a lot for both of you for showing up and helping to break down this game. I think it's going to be very interesting, very tight, and we will know probably around 11 o'clock Eastern time which team is walking out with the win and probably will be taking the lead in the Big Ten race. If folks want to find you on social media, where can they go? Joey, where can they find you on social media?
I'm on X or Twitter at Joey R. Kaufman. That's the easiest place to find me and read our coverage of the Dispatch.
And Zachary, you?
Yep, find me at Zachary C. Neel on Twitter and then at duckswire.usatoday.com.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. We look forward to the game.
Thank you.
Hey, Mike.